Hello everyone, welcome back to Group D, and progress has been made on the BMW E46 drift car. So just gonna show you guys, there's only about a week's work maybe left in this, bar a couple of parts missing, but should be finished in about a week. So it's a beautiful Monday evening here in Ireland, and the workshop is nice and quiet. I'm here on my own, so I can do a quick update for you and show you how this thing is coming along. So let's take a look under the engine bay and see what we have done. Right, so here is the beautiful 2JZ, and a lot of progress has been made here compared to the last video. I'm going to skip over some stuff so that I covered kind of well in the last video, so if you haven't seen that, please go take a look. But yeah, first things first, the front frame is on, the upper frame with our Group D laser cut panel. This will give us our hood pin options for the bonnet when it closes. Oil cooler is in, all plumbed. Bracket is done and welded onto the cooler just to hold it. The front panel has these laser cut stays that go down to the inside of the bumper bar plate, and that makes it lovely and strong. You can lean your full weight on it while you work on the car. Nice shot of that one there, all laser cut. Everything looking nice and tasty. It's all been off, painted, all stainless steel fasteners put in, finished, not to be taken off again. And steel it grey as usual for everything. Steel it grey the world now as far as I'm concerned. We have these stays made for the headlights. I'm not sure if that's the finished article yet. It's proving a little bit of a challenge to mount the headlights, believe it or not, but just to mount them in a tasty way. I'm not sure about them bending up. It looks a small bit weird. Actually doesn't look too bad on camera there though. And yeah, so on the hot side, that wasn't on the last time, so the Walton manifold has been ported slightly larger to match the open ports on the head. All new studs and nuts. New Group D manifold stud and nut kit coming soon. That is them. Actually surprisingly hard thing to find, but yeah, have them now in the correct tread for the old Toyota head. Turbo Smart 6262 turbo. So this is our first time going to be running one of the new Turbo Smart turbos. This is a oil cooled only, so no water cooling, which is really tasty to fabricate, we'll say. So you've no lines to come in and out of the turbo, so it makes it really simple. We like this low profile kind of, you know, movable 90 and 4 feet. We always go with like a crimped hydraulic line on top of the turbo just because it's just indestructible. A nice aluminium AN4 would be nice, but just with hot oil and quite a lot of oil pressure in these, we just like to do a hydraulic line. It is 100% reliable. It's PTFE, obviously. There's a little bracket made here, and that will tie here, and it'll tie at the back. You can see another little bracket here at the back, and it has a little leg bent in it, so it's anti-spin if it ever loosened. But this line goes all the way around under the intake manifold and into the oil filter housing here to get cooled oil from the cooler into the turbo. Not that it really matters, but look, every little thing matters. Turbo Smart turbo, and of course wastegate. We've used only Turbo Smart wastegates for 20 years now, I think. And 3 lines everywhere. All the vacuum and boost managed by AN3. Goes through bulkhead here, and through the bulkhead down there, and into the MAC valve here, which in turn goes out and across as well. So nice to have the MAC valve out of the heat, nice to have the wiring for it out of the heat. It's all Deutsch connectors, all with Deutsch brackets, so everything is unable to spin. And speaking of Deutsch, the whole thing is wired, so wired in-house by Ryan here, who loves his wiring. So all done, R35 coils, all done, marked. Got some spares just sitting here for now to be tucked away. Standard Toyota TPS on the Hypertune. A lot of interesting stuff here. So the most interesting really, so there's your map sensor, Haltech, one of the nicer ones, all stainless fasters as usual from us. Fuel pressure here, electrical, fuel pressure mechanical. The nicest thing is intake air temp is here. This is what the ECU will be tuned off of, but we also have intake air temp pre-intercooler. So this is going to be hot air out of the turbo. Then we can measure intercooler efficiency to see what the temperature drop is once it gets to the throttle body. And also we can measure ambient intake air temp into the turbo. So what temp is it going into the turbo, what temp is it going out of the turbo, and what temp is it going into the engine. Geeking out on it a little bit, but you wouldn't believe, you know, the data you can get here, and from this information you can make better decisions on like turbine housing, AR, size. You know, you could see crazy temps out of this, 110 degrees or something Celsius, and you might want to drop it down. A larger AR here would do that, but of course that introduces a little bit more lag or whatever the case may be. But without the data, you don't know where you're at. So if at all possible, you get the data to make the best decision. It is also mapped for turbo speed, which is going to go in here, and all sorts. We've kind of gone to town on it because of the electronics available, which you'll see in a minute. Electronic master switch here, where the old wiper was, I think. And yeah, so it's nice for it to come along this far. It's nearly done, as I said. Hot side is in, the downpipe is off for welding at the moment, so I must weld that to get it back in. I love this kind of stuff where the two stays for the throttle cable, something that's always overlooked, but it just keeps it out of harm's way and away from the heat. But really nicely done, nicely packaged. The Walton manifold we use on everything. Looking forward to using the Turbo Smart Turbo to see what results we get. Everything has airspace, should be mega reliable. All the plumbing is done, the water pipes are done. So yeah, not too much done here. The brakes are in. We went to AN6 welded onto the servo, and goes across to a one-way valve here and across into the intake for brake boost. But I mean, it just looks so cool. Almost done, ready to run. And so we have no cover on the timing belt at the moment. That's one thing I wanted to touch on. Getting rubber in the timing belt has been a bit of an epidemic recently. It's happened many times in the last couple of months. So I have a new plan for this. I'm going to run an exposed belt and pulleys, which you might think is mental, but I'm looking forward to explaining how I'm going to achieve that in a future video. It's going to be quite interesting, and I'm just a lover of exposed pulleys on a belt driven engine. From my old 4AG days and stuff, any kind of racing car, I always had exposed pulleys and belt. It just looks so cool. So I'm going to try and achieve that on this engine. Now, don't get me wrong, if there's any chance of it not being a success, well then it'll get a full cover system. But we will see. There's a new product in the works to make this happen, so I'll touch on that in another video. Right, so here's what's been happening on the inside. Haltech IC7 in the center console, or whatever you want to call it. So I decided not to put it up in the dash in front of the driver. I've been kind of digging dashes mounted in the center recently, so I decided to put this one in here. This car is so automated. The dash is there for monitoring. If there's a fault, it'll start flashing red on the dash. You can't really miss it either way. It doesn't need to be in front of the driver for constant monitoring. There is nothing really that'll go wrong with this car, like all the cars we build. So it's just there to bring up any warnings, any errors. It'll pop up on the screen. The crew or engine builder ourselves, you know, we can take a look at it, see if we're happy with all the values, and but the driver rarely ever needs to look at the dash. Haltech Nexus R3 here on top of the bulkhead. This of course is an ECU and a PDM in one, so that goes back to the three intake air temps. We have the electronics to be able to have loads of inputs, so we might as well just use them instead of not using them. It's not that big of a deal to wire in some extra stuff while we're at it, so we are running extra stuff like the 3 intake air temps because the ECU can monitor it. It can all come up on the dash. We can monitor all sorts of things that aren't possible if you have a lesser ECU, or you know, something that doesn't have the amount of inputs that we have going on here. And not only do we have this, but in the back there is a PDM 16 as well, so even more inputs and outputs. Down here we have the keypad for doing everything on the car. As I said, it'll be fully automated just like all the cars we build, but this will be used once again as a kind of a diagnostic thing, just like we did in the Silvia. If you didn't see that, go take a look. The Silvia is all done, so it's much easier to explain it, but basically these lights light up and tell you when something is working or not working, so you can quickly diagnose a problem here rather than having no switches. Again, it's ran by Ken, so it's 4 wires, whether there's 1 switch or however many there's there, 15. So it's the same 4 wires. It just works so well, and it's nice to be able to monitor everything, power something separately, turn on the power steering when you're pushing the car around, etc. It's just a nice way of doing it. Haltech, once again, the stuff is really good quality. Gear lever is done, Group D gear knob on it to match the tube, all ready to go. Fiberglass dash from TH Components fitted in. The aluminium floor plates are just placed in. This is being modified here to go around the 2 water lines, which are through bulkhead here. So we are almost there. There's about a week left, as I said, so mainly that is like going to be P-clipping everything nicely so that you don't see any of this wiring anymore. But yeah, the center, original plastic center column surround is on. It's a nice place to sit, it really is. Looking in the back, the power steering lines weren't fastened in the last video, so that panel, the 2 panels are in all stainless steel fasteners as usual. Power steering lines done crimped hydraulic hose, so they will always be 100% reliable. There's the PDM, the fire extinguisher system. There is, as I said, a lot of P-clipping to do here. Batteries over there. There's the Haltech PDM sitting in here. all wired and mainly almost exclusively running all the systems in the rear. You have a circuit breaker there that is for the power steering. When the power steering shits itself, the circuit breaker will cut off the power to it, instead of just a massive live wire running. It'll be stopped at the breaker. So just simple stuff. And the interior is completely done. Let me show you what it's like from the driver's side. So around to the driver's side, you can see the PDM again. Haltech stuff. It just has the look for me. I don't know, is it because it's black and yellow and that's my thing, but it just does. All these lives are ready to come back off and be put into like black shielding, and have the shrink put over it and just make it lovely and tasty and kind of discreet looking. The master switch is down here, in and done. So the whole car is basically wired, but this is the driver's view. Quite a nice place to be, with the snap off wheel. The dash is right in the middle. Just with the dash being adjustable up and down, the IC7, or with the steering wheel, sorry, being adjustable up and down, the IC7 here, the steering wheel was kind of always blocking something, so another reason to pop it in the middle. And as I said, it'll flash red if there's an issue. Another floor plate in here is done. The seat is in this time, it wasn't in the last time. But sparkle with the halo on it. Seat is rock solid. Yeah, so just a nice place to be, and almost done. So last video we didn't look at what's going on here. Wilwood calipers for the handbrake and just originals for the foot brake. They must come off, be cleaned and nicely sorted. You can see the brake lines are attached here. I'll show this in a future video. I don't think I showed it last time. So the handbrake and foot brake lines are attached via bracket on two hose clamps. Might look a bit weird here, but when you see it from underneath, it is a real nice job. This is a coilover, just a temporary coilover for now, and you can see we have a piece of tube in it for the right height we want for a little bit of measuring. You can see the cutout for the trailing arm to ride into, because this car is turreted 30mm, so it's got 30mm extra travel. And speaking of the trailing arm, the diff is out, the subframe is out, the diff is here, Bulldog quick change. The subframe is out, the subframe is over here, and there's a car here with 4 tubes sticking down in it, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen there in a second. So fuel cell all wired, everything is the same here. Once again, just P-clipping left pretty much. All wiring is done. All the Deutsches have the anti-spin brackets on them sitting there. Happy days. Same here, same here. Wiring like the brake light, it's going to be up on top. Just everything is kind of thought of. Power steering or water pump is done. All the lines are clamped and everything. All the hoses are clamped. Everything is ready for blast off in the back. Just some P-clipping, as I said, of the wiring of the fuel lines, and it'll be done. The boot door is off. It's marked on top to be cut out. It's lots of marks back here. There's another separate thing going on here to get the air out, but these are definitely coming out on top. And there's a bit of cardboard there and a wing kind of going to happen too. So that's the rear, and that's pretty much it, except for what's happening with the subframe. Let me give you a quick look at what's in store. It's really cool. So finally, in the dirty fabrication section, here is our mock-up quick change unit in a fully laser cut BMW subframe. Not one genuine rear subframe part. Fully laser cut Group D subframe on the way to replace the horrible, horrible rusty crap BMW subframe. This is just going to be so cool. So in the next video, I will show you the subframe. It'll be finished this week and mounted back in, painted, mounted back in. Everything else should be done on the car. We are waiting on P clips and stuff to come. Our new Group D P clips. I am quite excited about our P clips and separators. That is how boring my life is, that I'm excited about P clips, but we've redesigned the P clip basically, and it's just a million times better than any P clip that there's ever been, which sounds silly because how can you just redesign a P clip, but I'll show you guys in another video. So that's it. You can see what's been done. Nice bit of progress. As I said, this week it is finished, except for maybe some P clipping. Obviously it needs painting and stuff, but that's pretty much it. So next time you see this, it'll be probably running, driving, all the brakes are bled, etc. So it's ready to go. I'll try and do a quick update actually on the subframe in it next. That'll be the next cool thing. First time ever that someone has done a non-BMW subframe. So I'll be back to show you that in the next episode. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.